Hey everyone. Hey everyone, it's your girl Jenna. And I know you guys are probably wondering why we changed the name. Well, because I put out this video, you guys check it out. It's a video of a young lady who left her child at home for 6 days. And for us, it just did very well. And it is something that I love talking about. So basically true crime and things like that. And I think that this is a wonderful time to just basically make my channel something I love, which is celebrities and mayhem. Alright, so if you love that, make sure you subscribe, cut on your notifications, and you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, put your notifications on. And guys, I love making my waist beads. You know, you can purchase your waist beads. You know, the information is in the description, okay? Alright, so today we're going to talk about, and this is an older story, but this story really stuck out to me. Actually, I wrote about this story back probably 3-4 years ago. And you can actually look in the description for the actual story. We actually filmed this on TikTok, guys, so make sure you go to my TikTok and follow over there. I have a few videos that's trending over there, which is awesome. So yeah, we're spreading our wings and doing different things, so make sure you support us on all avenues. All right, so yeah, her name, I think, hold on y'all, Aniya. Okay, her name was Aniya Day, and this was a very sad story, guys. And I remember it. I'm gonna go and actually read off of the article, so I don't forget anything. But this was very sad because this was a case of actually a dad was very involved with his daughter, but the mother was just basically blocking everything, if you will. She was just blocking everything. She didn't want, you know, basically she was doing this. Let me put my lensless glasses on because I just feel more comfortable when I do that. They weren't together. He saw the BS that was within her, and he decided that he didn't want to be with her anymore, but of course he wanted to what in the heezy is this, guys? I'm sorry, I'm just looking at stuff. Excuse me, I'm getting distracted. I do apologize. Anyway, he didn't want to be with the mother anymore, but of course he wanted to still be a father to his child. And she was just really, really difficult. And so he would get his child maybe during the weekends, typical time, you know, we'll let the father come and be on the weekends. I know that's how I was raised. I saw my dad on the weekends. And I think I remember, I'm sorry guys, I'm getting actually a delivery from Instacart, and then I see that they don't have a lot of my stuff. Side note, guys, in between this, because I love giving people information, stock up on your food. Okay, stock up on your food and get your stuff when you can, because it looks like a lot of things are not available today, and I just like that. Oh well, who cares, right? So yeah, he wanted to be a dad, of course, and he was very involved, and he would get his daughter on the weekends. And if I remember this story correctly, you know, the little girl, she was 4, and she would have little, you know, abrasions and things on her face and everything, and she would basically say you know, Dad, I don't want to go home. And what does a parent do when they know that their mother has full custody or whatever, and the child actually lives with the other parent, the custodial parent or whatever, which is usually the mother. Okay, I am pro everyone, right? I'm pro mom, I'm pro dad, I'm pro relationships, I'm pro marriage, but I'm also pro that everybody has issues. And sometimes, you know, the mothers out here are not mothering. They're just not mothering. And, you know, I always wondered why does the woman automatically gets the children? Sometimes the mom is not, you know, mentally there to be a mom. You have to understand, like, just to carry a child, guys, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of nutrition and mental space to even carry a child. That's why a lot of women, you know, you go through postpartum, and I think this is a huge situation where people are not even discussing the mental capacity of some of these women. Okay, they're just not mentally. Oh my gosh, they don't have anything, babe.
What? They don't have anything?
When I say, well, I don't mean literally they don't have anything, but yeah, I'm getting the notifications. They don't have this, they don't have that, they don't have your July chips, guys. They don't have them, babe, so I don't know. But yeah, you know, just the physical aspect of a woman having to carry a child, guys, is daunting on the body. And so a lot of people are not talking about postpartum and all of that, you know. And, you know, when a woman has a child, it seems like no one pays attention to her. And, of course, it's some really, just, you know, some chemical changes happens from the body. You have to understand, you're producing all of this estrogen and you're producing all of these different hormones, right? And then all of a sudden, them things just drop out of nowhere. You know what I mean? What would that do to anybody, right? It would make them off. Okay? So, anyway, we're going to go over, I'm going to start reading it in a minute. Hold on. So, from what I understand before I get to that part, he did get her one weekend, and she said, Dad, I don't want to go home. And so he was actually in the process of trying to get her out of the home. He knew that she was off, you know. Some things he kept private, I guess, and people were calling. I think CPS was called. I've done so many of these stories, I've read so many of these stories, I don't want to give the wrong information, so I'm going to start reading, and I'm going to give the names and everything so you guys can know. Okay, first and foremost, guys, this happened back around 2019, so this is pretty much a very aged story. Hold on. Okay, so actually this happened in 2018. Okay, so back in March 11th, 2018, authorities responded to Cultural Garden Apartments in Euclid. And I think Euclid is that Ohio, I think? First responders found the girl unresponsive. Aniya was transported to a nearby hospital, and she was pronounced deceased. Now, I do remember this story a little bit. She was basically being starved. By the time they found Aniya, she was not able to walk. She was very, very gaunt. And I think that there was a little bit of when they walked in the house, I could be wrong, but I think if they walked in the house, they had an odor. By the way, I am watching Dahmer, okay? I am watching Dahmer on Netflix, and it's quite disturbing. I don't know if you guys are watching that, but if you want something, you feel like you know already, okay, Jeffrey Dahmer, he's the one who fatally injured all of those people and occasionally decided to ingest them, if you will, right? But they have the guy, I don't know his name, they have the guy who plays in American Horror Story, playing in there and things like that, and he is doing very well. I mean, he's a creepy actor. He's very well, but he really like owns what he does, guys. I love that. But anyway, it's very weird. Just how they are going to break this down in 10 episodes, I think. Niecy Nash is in it. And this is a little spoiler, guys. I'm saying this because I'm kind of looping it with how this story goes. People was actually calling the police. So all of these people that Dahmer actually fatally injured over time, which was, I think, was 17 to 19 people, over time, had they actually went, you know, basically took the reports that were given to them seriously instead of, you know, just shrugging it off, this man would have been able to do all the things that he did. Do you get what I'm saying? So I say this in this story too because I'm being, I kind of remember it, but as I'm reading it, it's coming back. This girl, people in school was calling CPS. Neighbors called CPS. Father also was in the, you know, situation of trying to get his daughter away from his, you know, his child's mother because she was sick. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, so Aniya's demise was ruled a homicide. Day and Lewis were arrested. By the way, she had a boyfriend. Of course, the boyfriend said that, oh, he had nothing to do with it. That was her. No, if you are with someone and you're witnessing, let me go ahead and start doing this, and you're witnessing your partner doing illegal things, you are, you know, just as guilty. It is what it is. There's no other way to say it. Okay, hold on, y'all. Alright, so a nurse told the jury that Aniya had no cardiac activity when she arrived at the hospital. Okay? The nurse suggested that Aniya was already deceased by the time she arrived at the hospital. Okay, so it's coming back to me now. So, more than likely, this young lady was already, that the little baby was already deceased by the time the mother called the people, because I think they called and said, oh, she's not responding. No, that's not how it went, guys. She been deceased, and that's why I think this was around it said March and things, but I think they had the air conditioning units on because of the home, you know, smelling a certain way. The nurse suggested that Aniya was already deceased. My observations, this is coming from the nurse. So my observations were the little girl was skin and bones, literally. Now, mind you, just prior, CPS was called. For some reason, one of the CPS workers, if I remember this story correctly, warned the mother. I don't know if I gave the mother's name. Hold on. Yeah, they didn't even give her name yet, and I forget what her name is. Oh, her name is Sierra. Okay, Sierra, Sierra Day. That's her, that's the mother's name. Okay. But yeah, right before all of this went down, they were called, CPS, and CPS actually warned or say, hey, we're on our way. So when she got there or whatever, Sierra Day cleaned up her place, put food in the refrigerator. I think she placed a thing of popcorn or something right next to the child, and the child was, I don't know if the child was there or whatever, but let's keep reading. My observations were the little girl was skin and bones. Her eyes were wide open. Her mouth was open and bruised, fragile, stiff, and cold. I'm going to start pre-reading these before. I like to give people my real reactions, so I'm known for, because I've been going live for so many years on Facebook, and I finally just said I'm not doing that anymore because they're changing so much. But just reading that is so disheartening. I'm a person who feels like there should be some training in how to be a parent. There should be a license almost. I don't know. I don't want to put that out there, but why would you do that? Like, if you don't want to have a child, if you don't want to be a parent, I could just say, oh, close up shop, make sure you don't sleep around. But give the baby up. The father, oh my gosh, if you actually look this story up or whatever, if you want to go further with it and actually look, the father was so hurt. I remember he was just, oh my goodness, just crying and exclaimed, and just, you could see the pain in the father's face. It is just horrible, because you usually don't get to see how a man feels about his child. A lot of us, we feel like it's just a mother. No, that's his baby too. But he didn't want to get in trouble. He didn't want to force things, because they are tough on men, i.e. brown men. A lot. They're very tough on brown men. And it's tough for a man to get his child, because it's automatic. Aniya passed away from a stroke caused by a blow to the head about 10 days to 2 weeks before the day she was taken to the hospital. Aniya, let me read that again. Aniya died from a stroke caused by a blow to the head. That's pure evil. Yeah, that's pure evil. First of all, to hurt your own child, to hurt a child in general. I can just imagine the pain that this young girl went through. The horror to have to wake up every day to someone that you feel should be protecting you. This reminds me of that other story. There's another story of a little boy. I don't know. I have to get better with my memory, because this is one thing this was a Netflix movie, I think. I forget. I think his name was, you know what? I'm going to look it up. Hold on. And it's like when you say, like, the name is, okay, his name is Gabriel. I was going to say Hernandez. I think Hernandez was another video of someone. It's a lot of stories I can do. Ooh, thanks, Netflix. The story behind Netflix docuseries of Gabriel Fernandez. And I remember years ago watching that. And that was also disheartening. CPS was involved in that as well. And they didn't do well by him as, either. That's another situation. But like I said, this is pure evil. that somebody would do this to a child in general, to someone in general, but i.e. your own flesh and blood, someone that you birthed, someone that is your child, and they look to you for comfort, they look for you to protect them, and instead you are harming them. Okay? Sierra Day's sister told the jury she noticed changes in her niece's appearance and behavior. Okay, so family was involved as well. Okay? You know, this is the thing. I'm gonna read it, trust me. This is the thing. Because this was like with the little boy Gabriel Fernandez. I think a teacher knew that he was being, knew it because she saw the scars on the little boy's head and all of that, and she knew that he was being mistreated. But she allowed him to go back home. Not her fault. It's one thing, one thing about my commentary, I just call out what I see and say how I feel. And this is just my opinion. So please do not anyone take what I say to heart. And nor can I say what I would do. But one thing I would not do is if I found a child being, well, you know what? Let me give a story time real quick. My husband and I, this was years ago, we had neighbors and they were so, they had gotten in a fight. And I had actually witnessed, I didn't witness it, I witnessed the aftermath of the mother being, the man must have cut her because she had, the apartment complex or the wall on the outside, because we lived in a duplex, and so it was a house that was like 3 different apartments, and so I heard the screaming and I heard everything, and then I saw the bodily fluids being basically traced down the wall. So it literally looked like a scene, like from a horror movie. And they happened to have a little girl at the time. And she had to be no more than maybe 5 or 6 years old. But we welcomed her in our home because the mom basically said, hey, can you keep my daughter? Mind you, she didn't know what's from a can of paint. Thinking back to this story, which was probably back in 2007, okay, long time ago, that was a red flag there. Luckily, my husband and I were good people, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't have left my child, but I guess she was in mother mode. It was safer for her to be there, I guess, than, with her, because she was dealing with, DV, if you will, the domestic dispute with her child's father. And no, we didn't call anybody. We didn't do any of that. We didn't. When she came back home, the child was there. But the child at the time was very quiet, and I'm not a psychiatrist. I was young my darn self, but looking back at the situation, yeah, of course. If you just seen your mom, kind of cut by your dad or whoever that man was, because I don't know if it was the child's father or not. I'm assuming it was. But no, I didn't call the police. I didn't. But nor did I see blatant reason to, other than, of course, the mother. Because just to let you know, guys, I believe that too, where, he'll hurt the mom. A lot of people feel, oh, well, he'll hurt the mom, but he'll never hurt a child. No. Or they will hurt the mom or hurt the parent and never the child. Nope. That's not true. Okay, but I'm going to still say what I'm saying, because this was years ago. I was young, and now I'm like, okay, this is a different time, and I know people are going to be watching this video. Okay, and so I'm saying, if you see a child that blatantly has scars on them, they are recluse. Recluse means, I think, to themselves. If they look like they are traumatized, if they are blatantly telling you, because Aniya told people that she was not treated right, and I think Gabriel Fernandez did as well. You get what I'm saying? And so when children are blatantly telling you that they are being not treated correctly at their home, please tell somebody. I can go to the another story. I'm going to name this video Aniya Day, but also commentary on how to tell, listen to your kids, listen to children. I don't know, because I'm going like through all these stories, and there's several of them. Sometimes I don't really have the mental space to do all of these stories separately. And, sometimes I just want to go ahead and pepper it all in and things like that. But if you want me to do individualized stories, please let me know in the comments if you want like a specific story talked about along the lines of this video, which is children. Please let me know, and I will take the time out to do that, okay? Because I'm here to give you guys what you need because your guys are watching. And so basically these children, I'm just saying, if a child just flat out and says, number one, I don't want to go home, that's a red flag. The second thing, if a child blatantly has scars on them, marks or whatever, something is wrong. If they are acting out, if they're doing weird stuff, come on. If you're watching this video, you're into true crime, you're into horror, you're into suspense. What do they all do? What do all them children start, drawing stick figures and dark stuff? And if they, really, children will tell through what they say, how they act. They're, that's just how they are. They're innocent. So there's no filters with children. You know what I mean? Don't let them go back home. Call the police. Straight up. Call the police. And I don't care. Call the authorities. CPS is fine, but CPS is not somebody who can get the child right away. There's a huge process with CPS. Also, CPS has probably things up to here. And then you have to depend on the workers. And are they going to do their job? Because a lot of them, we're not going to go here. So the sister said changes became noticeable after Lewis came into the picture. Okay, so she's indirectly, I guess, is blaming the boyfriend. On occasions, when Dave brought Aniya to family gatherings, the child seemed different. This is what I'm talking about. I'm reading this as I'm reading it to you. That's just, common sense. Like, children will tell you by how they act. Children are usually bubbly. Children are outspoken. Children are not shy. Usually, children have nothing to really gauge anything from. So they don't really, they're not private. But now, if they are showing those type of qualities where they are recluse, where it looks like they've been traumatized, when they look like they don't want to socialize, those are key things that's saying it's something going on, and the only life that they have is at home. It's 9 times out of 10 is something that's going on at the house. Okay, no matter how things look on the outside, a child will literally tell you what's going on. Okay. So she said on occasions when Dave brought Aniya to family gatherings, the child seemed different. First it was behavior, and later it was her appearance. So this is what I'm saying. By the time we're talking about it, okay, it's said and done. But it's not overnight. When people are mistreating children, it takes time. It's sneaky because they don't want to get caught. It is a lifestyle. So by the time things start, by the time they start acting out, that would be what I would call, as being a holistic practitioner, a prevention state. You're at the preventative state when they start acting out. I saw one video, of a child, and she was, okay, I'm not going to even make this personal. I'm going to just keep it to, things that we all can know. Okay, so the scene in Good Time, this is when Janet Jackson was on there, and she was playing Millicent or Penny. And I think she had a doll baby, right? And something happened where she started smacking the dolls, like, stop it, and shaking it up. And JJ was like, what's going on? Why are you doing that to the doll? Okay, that's when Penny had the little thing over her. She was an abused child, right? She was being mistreated. And so she was acting out. And by the time they actually said, okay, is something wrong, you know, because they kept saying, like, what's going on? She was sneaking food, I think. Of course, she lashed out at the doll. She was very loving, because sometimes children will do the opposite. They won't become like the parent, like they won't become the aggressor. They'll become very open. They'll become very wanting to seek more love. And that's dangerous too, because if they do that, excuse me, if you know, I lost track because I'm reading something, guys. This is in live time. Let me get back to what I was saying. Which is dangerous, because if they come across the wrong person, guys, they can take advantage of them. Okay, so you just don't know which. I'm drinking my green tea today. Okay, I'm drinking my green tea. So that's dangerous. So yeah, she was acting out. If you want to know what episode that was, I don't know, but just look up, you know, Penny slapping her doll. Okay, that was obvious that yes, she was basically imitating what she goes through at home. So when you see little stuff, like after seeing this, I'm letting you know. So when you see it, you could kind of save the situation from being on my desk, if you will, and save and get this child out of the home before it's said and done. Because after it's said and done, it's pretty much a done deal, right? It's pretty much a done deal. She didn't really seem like a child. This is coming from the sister, the aunt. She really didn't seem like a child. I was going to say that earlier. Children who are being mistreated, children who are seeing too much, going through too much, they will start to act more like an adult. And I'm old school. Children's supposed to be in a children's space. But even when I was growing up, there were some things that, of course, I should not have seen. I should not have been around my parents while they're partying. Some language I should not have heard. Some movies I should not have seen. Like, I shouldn't have seen Coming to America in '87. I was only like 10, right? It is what it is. Because people feel like children are not smart. They're very smart. They're intuitive. And they are like sponges. They literally take in everything. So you have to be careful of what you know, show them. She was very standoffish. That's that recluse thing I was talking about. You know, some of these things you just kind of pick up, I guess, just by common sense. I don't know. I've just been studying this a long time. She didn't really seem happy, Day's sister said on the stand. Now, of course, you can't call CPS and say, look, this child doesn't seem happy and standoffish and she's acting like she's an adult. Of course, that's not, you can't do that at that stage. That's what you would call a very, very little stage. You know what I mean? Just like I'm watching Dahmer and it was like, hey, you know, why are you calling? They say this. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you look at it like, okay, this is fake. But no, this is really happens. Like, you really can't report until it actually happens, unfortunately. Or, you know, she was getting smaller. So this is blatant. You know, children are supposed to be getting bigger, not smaller. Okay? I thought maybe it had something to do with her getting taller. When toddlers grow, they slim out a little bit. She was getting littler or smaller. She said littler and littler. I don't know if that's a word. So I'm going to say smaller and smaller. To the point you could see the extension of her stomach sticking out. See, this is the thing. At that point, something should have been done. Because that's obvious starvation. Referring to Aniya back in 2017. This happened in 2018. So she saw this a year prior. That is my point. that this is not overnight, and several people will start to see things when it happens. You know, you'll come across teachers that'll see, just like the Gabriel. It was teachers who saw it, neighbors who saw it. There's another family that I think I'm going to do a story on that probably a lot of people don't know about, the Hart family, and that's all I'm going to say. Okay. Aniya's autopsy results confirmed those statements. Okay, so the medical examiner, Joseph Fellow, testified and said Aniya passed away slowly. So this was not an overnight thing. This was an overtime thing. She didn't receive the injury and passed away. So this was not an instant situation. Okay? She lingered for a while. I have to ask God for strength to do these stories. To be honest, this story is very like, you don't come across these type of stories every day. I mean, you know, this happened years ago, good 4 years ago, I guess, 4 or 5. I don't know when you guys are watching this, but it happened a long time ago. But it's like certain things just get you to your gut, because I've heard people who are in different forms of you know, jobs like funeral homes, or, you know, health business, or even police, and it's like one thing that is very unbearable is when you have to deal with children, when you see children being mistreated, or children post-mortem and things like that. It's just hard. Like, I read about women, you know, passing away at the hands of their, you know, lovers all the time, you know, grown-ups, you know, people, you know, basically you can make your own choices. Not saying it's better, but it's easier to digest. But when you say a child cannot make their own choice. A child depends on an adult to look after them and make the choices for them. And so to read this and to understand that the mother did this to her own child is just disgusting. He testified that Aniya's body slowly withered away as her organs revolted against her. And so that was painful. And they witnessed it, and they put into that lifestyle constantly, and they made her suffer. So you would naturally say, you know what? She's in a better place at that point, because she could not have peace here. So they're saying that Aniya suffered from chronic physical mistreatment and neglect. So the photos and all the evidence and things like that, I think it's the overall evidence was clear cut. The photos obviously were horrendous in the ongoing period of mistreatment over a long period of time. I'm changing the words, by the way. All right, so they're saying other things, but I have to change the words. During an initial examination at the medical examiner's office, she was very, 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 very thin at 3 feet tall. She weighed 26 pounds. Now, see, this is the thing. And I said this on another video, and I'm going to keep it up, and I'm going to keep saying it, because nobody can, you know, as long as I'm respectful with my commentary, I think I know I'm covered. So, at 26 pounds, obviously, at this point, she probably was not walking or anything like that. But where's the grandmother? Where is the father? During this time, if I'm not mistaken, because this is like an ongoing thing. This had a big trial. This actually went to, like, you know, they taped it. Like, you can actually look up this trial and look at it. And I don't, you know, I don't really look at it. The last trial that I looked at was the Trayvon Martin case. And I was so, like, emotionally involved in that. It made me sick. So I'm a biblical woman. I go by the words of the Bible, it says that you have to watch what goes in your eyes and ears. So I'm just letting you know, even it's odd that I'm in this type of position, because I feel like God wants me to spread the word. He knows I love doing this. You know, this is what interests me. Because I like to put a holistic twist to everything, and I like to see, like, how can this story have been, you know, kind of, avoided. The father, like, during this time, like, what, even though, yes, the father was in pain, but what kind of mindset can you be in when you don't see your child for days? Because unfortunately, I'm sure the father did not see a child for 20, at 26 pounds. Where are the paternal and the maternal grandparents? Where are the teachers? Where are the neighbors? How is this even able to happen for a mother to single-handedly starve, torture, mistreat her child for 2 weeks and no one ask any questions? Guys, help me out in the comments on that. I don't understand. To put things in perspective for the jury, he said this, that they were, the little girl was 26 pounds. Phalo, the examiner, said that 97% of other children around her height weighed much more. Due to the malnourishment, her skin was loose from the loss of fat and muscle. Just to let you guys know, this part right here might be a little bit auditory graphic, so steer yourself. I'm just letting you know. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a warning, because I'm actually reading this. Okay, so if you don't like it, I do apologize. But when you watch these type of videos, be prepared for anything, right? Okay. So due to the malnourishment, her skin was loose from the loss of fat and muscle tissue underneath. Aniya's body mass was around 11. Children her size typically have a body mass index of 18. Additionally, the deputy medical examiner said Aniya had a black eye, blisters, signs of bed sores. If you're in the nursing field, you know what bed sores are. I am in the nursing field, and I know what bed sores are. Bed sores are horrible. Bed sores easily get infected. They need to be cleaned. They need to be looked at, for people who know what they're doing, because that in and of itself could cause systemic issues. Her lungs had been collapsing. She also suffered with pancreatitis, which is inflammation of the pancreas from the lack of food, and had stomach ulcers. During the trial, Euclid police detectives testified that evidence collected from the apartment indicated that before calling the emergency line, Day and Lewis attempted to clean the crime scene. The apartment itself was very, very clean. Okay? They said they had noticed several different types of household cleaners on a counter. Now, I know someone is going to say in the comments that this woman obviously, which never really even entered my mind, but I'm going to go ahead and say it just because I know people are going to say, oh, she had mental illness. We cannot keep putting all of these horrible things onto mental illness. There are so many people who have mental illness and they don't do stuff like this. Let's put it on what it is. It's completely evil. Evil. Devilish. Okay? It's just, this is horrible. This is horrible. So she was basically consumed with evil during this, because a real mother would not do this. He told the jury that some of the towels in the bathroom were wet, and it suggests that Day and Lewis attempted to clean. See, Day and Lewis, her boyfriend, if you're cleaning it up, if you're masking it, if you're keeping it, I don't care if you've never touched that child a day in your life, but if your eyes witnessed it and you knew it, you're just as guilty. There were so many stories like this of the spouse saying, oh, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I didn't know anything about it. Yeah, you did. I mean, the apartment was practically immaculate. Okay? Which was like that when she called CPS. The apartment was immaculate. She had food in there. Everything on the outside looked awesome, but she didn't look at the child because there's no possible way that person from CPS looked and talked to the child outside of where the mother is. There's another story out there that's on Hulu that I was watching it, but I kind of put it down. I forget the story. But it was basically of a young girl. She was forced to act like she was, handicapped or whatever. I don't like to call that. I don't know what the proper way to say it, but she wasn't. But she was forced to act like she was, and she fatally injured her mother. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, okay, it was very tidy, neat. There was no disarray of any kind. The apartment smelled strongly of bleach. Day and Lewis will be sentenced. Okay, they were sentenced. Okay. So for Aniya, oh, that's it. I have to go to something else to get any more. But she was sentenced, by the way. I think she got life. I don't know. You guys, and the thing about it is she was, by looking at her, you wouldn't even think, you can't go by looks. You can't go by looks. You can't go by what the parents, oh, that's why I mentioned that movie on Hulu. It's because they didn't allow the child, like CPS was called, but they didn't pull the child away from the home and talk. You have to understand, it's very manipulative. Like when parents are there, it's totally different. Like I'm in the hair game. I was a hairstylist for years, and I didn't like the parents there when I would do the child's hair. And then eventually I just said, you know what, I'm not going to do children's hair because the parents, they act up. They act up when the parent is there. The child, of course, this has nothing to do with that, but it's the same dynamic. So if you're talking to a child who is being mistreated, and the mom is there or the parent is right there, they're going to act different versus if you pull them away, you're going to get more of a situation. But the reason why I guess they do that is because it's a child and maybe legally they can't do that. I'm not sure. You guys let me know. Like, I'm doing this stuff, but I'm winging it. You don't have to be like, well, I don't have to know everything. I'm doing this to learn from you guys too. So it is what it is. Okay. Let's see if I can. If I can find anything else. And just by the way, this is the dad and Aniya. And she looked just like her dad. And he loved her. And he was crazy about her. It's funny I said that because usually dads are they love their children, but it's just a special bond between a dad and his daughter. You know. And, you know, you just, like, if you were to go and do your own little research on this story, just know that it's very tough. It's a lot of other, like, commentaries, and the actual trial is also up as well if you want to go and dive into that situation. But it's very emotionally reckoning. It's just, just basically from what I get from this story, if you know that a child is being mistreated, we have gut feelings. And I know you can't make stuff happen, but if it's blatant, like if you see a child losing weight, if you see a child acting out, if you see actual scars, if the child actually says, hey, I am not being treated and I don't want to go home. Because the thing about it is, what I understand is the father had gotten his daughter one day, and several times he got her. He said, I don't want to go home. But by law, he couldn't do that. He had to take her home. But no, you don't. You do not have to take them home. You could actually see if you can get authorities involved and to at least try that route. Not saying that's 100%, because I'm watching this case in Dahmer on Netflix, and they actually told the police something. The police didn't do anything and let the young fella go back in Dahmer's house, and unfortunately, he didn't make it. So nothing I'm saying is 100 proof, but at least within your heart, you know you did everything. Can you imagine if you say, "Oh, I saw this, I felt this, the child told me this," and then something unfortunately happens, and then you have to live with that for the rest of your life? They have so many channels that you can do. You can do anonymous. There's so many things you can do to keep yourself out of it, but still get the, attempt to get the job done, and put awareness to, because it's not overnight. I mean, it may take several calls to authorities to get things done. It's not overnight. So if you're expecting everything to happen right when you say it, no. But take notes. Hey, take your own pictures. If you see scars on a child, you take pictures. You write notes. You put the date down. Come on. I'm just saying, if you watching it to this point, basically, I'm just letting you know, where there's a will, there is definitely a way to get that child up out of there. Of course, you can't kidnap them. You can't keep them away, but yes, you can call somebody. Yes, you can. And never let the parent know. You're going to know, but you're going to have discretion. A lot of people don't know anything about discreet. People feel like as soon as you find out something, you got to tell everybody. Unless you're in my seat. If I find out some tea, I got to tell y'all, because it's called What's the Tea today. But if you're not in my seat, no, you keep it to yourself. You act as normal. Because as soon as you alert the parent or alert the aggressor, they're going to do what they need to do to get up out of the situation. And sometimes their getting up out of a situation can cause harm to someone else. Okay? So, thank you for listening, guys. I'll be back with some more stories. If you have any suggestions, leave it in the comments. TikTokers, thank you for watching this whole video. But make sure you go over to my YouTube and subscribe. It's the same name as this. Also, follow us on Facebook as well. And Instagram. It all matches now. It took me years to understand all of your social media has to match. Alright? Thanks for watching.